3-2, the Edmonton Oilers defeat the Anaheim Ducks, and they put an end to Anaheim's 3-game winning streak. Whew, didn't make it easy, though, that's for sure. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show. Tom Gazzola, Hernan, Salas with you. We'll be joined by our game analyst, Joaquin, Gage, in a few minutes, and then we'll also get a visit from Reed Wilkins a little bit later on. Settle in, get your beverage, and feel free to shoot us a line. Let us know what you thought of Edmonton's 3-2 victory over the Ducks. Edmonton improving to 23-12-3. Anaheim falls to 16-18-4. The Oilers off to Seattle to start a 4-game road trip tomorrow night. We're on the air at 7 p.m. for the pregame show. By the way, GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. 780-218-9999. And then jump into the nasty chat as well. Maybe you're making your way home from that game. Bundle up. Stay warm. It's chilly out there, but we'll keep you company for the next little while. Nanso, they get the job done. Didn't go like we thought it was going to. Those Ducks continue to be feisty, and they make it interesting. The Oilers blow another 2-goal lead, but they still win it. How do you look at it?
Yeah, Joaquin was right. Keep doubting the man, but yeah, he was right on the night. A feisty team, man. That Anaheim team's not messing around, and I think I agree with Jack and Lou, and they might be turning a corner here now. Within reason. But I will say, Tommy, I thought the first period back and forth, sure. It wasn't I didn't mind that period by the Oilers. Second period, they were all over them. The Ducks didn't have the puck barely. It was just kind of, the Oilers kept going into the zone, come back out, and then until the blunder at the blue line by Mr. Evan Bouchard gives them a little bit of life. And then in the third, Vetrano, let's be honest, hits the post.
Yep.
Hits the post, and they get lucky one, and they were all over them for a bit there. And then the Oilers, I wouldn't say a lucky goal. I mean, it's just the puck bounced their way, and Draisaitl, that's the last guy you want to leave unattended in front of the net, Tom. But I'll say this. I think the Oilers got away with one tonight. And
really?
Yes.
They should have won that game like 5-1.
They should have, but they didn't.
Yeah.
And you know why? Because for the majority of the game, they were trying to be too cute.
Yeah.
In the first period, too cute. Second period, too cute. And then in the third period, Louis alluded to it. No one's going to the net. Like, they kept putting pucks on net, but no one was there, man. So, again, I don't think the Oilers were terrible. Let me be clear on that front. But I think Anaheim was game, just like Joaquin predicted. And I mean, you're one post away from Anaheim going up 3-2, Tom. It didn't happen. What ifs? Who cares at this point? But, yeah, you got to give credit to the Ducks. I think they showed up on a back-to-back night and gave the Oilers all they could handle. Now the Oilers got to travel and do what Anaheim did last night. And hopefully you see a little bit better finishing. I did like the Enrique line. I thought Draisaitl, McDavid were rolling. Nurse with another solid night. So lots to break down, lots to like, lots not to like, Tommy. But all in all, you got the 2 points, and that's all that matters in the end.
2 points indeed for the Edmonton Oilers. 3-2 is the final. It was a lot closer than it should have been, but give the Ducks credit. They have been playing some good hockey. They beat 3 good teams going into this game, including the Winnipeg Jets last night. In overtime, Edmonton prevails with a late Leon Draisaitl goal. Let's get to the scoring summary, and then we'll bring in our game analyst, Joaquin, Gage. The Oilers jump out to the lead in the first period at 16:54. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, his 9th of the season on the power play from Evan Bouchard. Give Nuge 9 goals. Like I mentioned, Bouchard 22 assists, 1-zip Oil after 1. Edmonton makes it 2-0 on Darnell Nurse's 4th. Nice shot by Nurse. Good play by Jeff Skinner to find him, identify him, and Corey Perry sacrifices the body in the corner to make the play to Skinner. Skinner finds Nurse. He tucks it. 7:57 time of that goal. But before the period would be up, Connor Brown fiddling around with the puck at the blue line. Has a couple guys on him. Pressure. Feeds a grenade to Evan Bouchard. He bobbles it. Brett Leeson goes in, and he tucks it past Stu Skinner for his 5th of the season at 18:32. Deja vu. Where did we see this before? 6 days ago in Anaheim. And sure enough, at 6:53, Jackson Lacombe scores his 7th on the power play from Ryan Strome and Leo Carlson off the snapshot. The Oilers would start to press. The big line gets out there. The nuclear option is enabled. And then finally, Leon Draisaitl buries his 28th of the year from Hyman and Nurse at 18:25 to give the Oilers the lead. They do hang on. Shots on goal, 29-26 in favor of Anaheim. The Oilers dominant on the faceoff dot, 60.8% to 39.2. The power play, 1-for-1. The PK, 1-for-2. Hits, 14-3 in favor of the Ducks. Block shots, 13 for Edmonton, 12 for Anaheim. Giveaways, officially 18 for the Oilers to 4 for the Ducks. Takeaways, 5 for the Oilers, 1 for the Ducks. Ultimately, it is a 3-2 Oilers victory. Get those texts in, 780-218-9999 and via the nasty chat. Let's bring in Joaquin Gage, our game analyst, for the breakdown, which is brought to you by South Fort Chev, where you can reserve your 2025 Equinox, Trax, and Traverse now. They won't last long. They've also got 2025 Silverado Customs with payments starting as low as $199 bi-weekly. See dealer for details at www.southfortchev.com. Joaquin, maybe we doubted you, but you ultimately were right. These Ducks hang around, kill a 2-goal lead that the Oilers had. Shades of last week, but Edmonton does hang on. If you're an Oiler fan, are you concerned or are you breathing a sigh of relief? How do you look at it tonight?
Probably a little bit of both, but it's funny because you guys should start listening to me, and my daughter is sitting right behind me right now, so there's a lot of extra pressure, and she never listens to me at all. But so it's kind of nice to let her know that I know what I'm talking about here, guys.
Yes,
so
lovely.
That's kind of good. But no, I mean, when you look at it from a Duck standpoint, it's a pretty good hockey game. It's a pretty good road hockey game, right? They kept it close. They did what they had to do. There was some physical play. You said it before, Tommy. This game should have been over.
Yeah.
Connor McDavid should have met Matt Iwanik's point total in this game for the amount of tap-ins that he set up guys for, and just kind of a missed opportunity. But look, you're not gonna, even though teams are lower in the standings like this, you're not gonna dominate every team just because of their point total, right? Mm-hmm. Like I said, I thought this was going to be a tougher game just because of what has happened. The Anaheim Ducks have not had a lot of success throughout this year so far. This was their first time where they probably actually started feeling good about themselves, and it was a pretty good game, and it took the Oilers' best player so far this year to end it late with a great goal.
Yeah. Go ahead, Hernan.
I was just going to say, sorry, guys. I don't know if this is on your end, on my end here, but we're getting echoes from both Gager and Tommy, according to some of our listeners. I don't know what to do on that end because I think it's, I don't know, boys. If there's any setting you can adjust or anything.
Gager sounds good in my ear, I'll tell you that much.
Both you guys sound good in my ear as well, but I think on the YouTube channel it's coming a little echoey. But I'll get to the bottom of it, boys. I just want to make it known, just if you guys start seeing that, I'll be working on it. So,
all right, work on that. At 780-218-9999, get into the conversation. Gager, I suppose, is it a thing where the Oilers are kind of toying with their food, especially in that second period? You heard Louis on the broadcast talking about how nobody was going to the net. They're trying to get too cute because although the Ducks were leading in the shot clock, it was the Oilers who looked like they had all the opportunities and all the momentum for large chunks of that game.
Yeah, and that's been kind of one of their Achilles heels, I think, throughout the season, Tom, is the desire to pass the puck into the back of the net and just not play a straight meat and potatoes type of style. I alluded to the fact that I thought they needed a little bit more sandpaper in certain areas from certain players. I said it was Zach Hyman. You saw at times he was going to the net hard. Like in the second, there was a few guys that did it a little bit more consistently. But then there was a point in the third period there where you saw, and I realize it's Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, right? So they kind of fan out to the sides. There's no traffic in front. It's an easy save for Dostal. You're just not going to score on a lot of NHL goaltenders without getting in the eyes of them and making it a little bit more difficult. And I mean, from the ages when you're small to pro, you'll hear coaches always say, "Stop in front of the net." That's where good things happen. And there just seems to be a lack of consistency of guys going to those areas. The going there, but staying there is another thing. You're going to have to deal with the guys like Trouba and Gudas at that point, right? And battle for position. The Oilers have to do a better job of that. And I think if they would have done that, this game would have been probably put out of reach a lot earlier than what we saw. I was sitting with a friend of mine, a former first rounder, Dave Cooper, and we were discussing this exact thing, Tommy, where we're just where's the net front presence with these guys? Because you see the other teams do it. Like
right.
That's how Anaheim generates chances. Is you look at the tying goal. Two Ducks players providing a really good screen on Stuart Skinner where he can't see it. I'd like to see the Oilers just battle for that prime real estate a little bit more and not always look for the pretty one-timers off to the side and getting those highlight real goals, because those don't happen when teams start locking it down.
Guys, what did you make of Chris Knobloch once again going nuclear? It worked.
Had to.
But do they though, Tom? Like, were they like? I said it. I think they got away with one tonight. I thought there was some good. I thought there was some bad from the team. But again, like it worked, Tom, and it usually does. But like we were talking about this, Gage, earlier in the week. Like sometimes you just got to let them figure it out, right?
Yeah, you have to let them try, And I thought, I guess is it. I don't know what we're naming it. Is it the old man line? Like when they, with Henrique and Perry, like I think there's almost 2,500 games between all of them, or a little bit more. Like it's a crazy. They had some good chances, but it worked tonight. Hernan, I thought it was almost actually necessary to a point. I felt like Connor was, he was better than the last few games where he was setting things up, like providing really good scoring chances. Again, I think he can shoot the puck a little bit more. But it's just the de facto now. If it gets late like that in a game, what are you going to do? You're going to load those two up. And it didn't happen as earlier as we've seen.
Yeah.
Right. So they get the second one. Yeah. They load them up later. You would like to see them work out their problems with the lines that started the game, obviously, and get the win and get contributions from other players. But in this case, get the 2 points, get down to Seattle, look for another 2, and let's move on from this game.
There was a point in the second period, and I'm with you, Gager, where I actually noted that Knobloch seems to be sticking with his lines. And I know there was some variances, especially when there was a couple of power plays where he would get McDavid out there with, I think it was Hyman and obviously Draisaitl. But I think for the most part, he was really sticking to those lines. There was one shift where Draisaitl went with Kapanen and Hyman instead of Janmark. And then I was like, oh, that's different. And then he went right back to Janmark between Kapanen and Hyman. So I thought he did stick to it. And I agree, regardless of the opponent, like if you're in a jam and it's in the third period and the opponent, which is a confident team, as the Ducks should be this week especially, and they're feeling good, and this is kind of playing into their favor. They tied that game last night in Winnipeg really late, and then pulled it out in overtime. So they, in theory, would be comfortable in the situation that they were in at 2-2. I think you just, regardless, again, of the opponent, go to a shorter bench and put out your big guns. And you need a goal. Well, you're not sticking Corey Perry. Oh, Perry's all right, but Janmark shouldn't be going out there, and Henrique shouldn't be going out there at this point. I'd even say Jeff Skinner shouldn't be going out there. Podkolzin should have no business being out there in the last few minutes when you're looking for a goal, because they don't really give you that spark offensively. So I have no qualms with Knobloch going down to the shorter bench and loading up to get the win.
I'm just thinking long term, Tom. Though,
no, I understand that, but
yeah.
Let's say this. Let's play devil's advocate. Let's say he stuck with the lines all the way through the game, and they end up losing this game. What are we talking about right now?
Why didn't they go to that?
Yeah, exactly. You probably hear like ripples of that for sure, but he didn't go to it early, and I think I think the reason for that mostly, Tommy, was because of the back-to-back nights. Like, he realized that he's got the minutes were, from what I could gather, they were pretty evenly distributed throughout those first two periods, knowing that they're on a plane to Seattle basically right now, getting ready for tomorrow night, right? So and in those cases you have to do that, and it was kind of late on the trigger. You probably see, from what we've seen from Coach Knobloch over the first half of this season, Connor and Leon probably get put together closer in that second period, or the end of the second, I would say, if they didn't play tomorrow night. So this was a coach knowing the schedule, trying to get more guys ice time, and he said it. In his interview, he said Jeff Skinner probably deserves more ice time, but there's a lot of guys that he would like to give more ice time to. But that's another thing, you got to earn it, right? And not only it's not good enough to just get chances. Like, I thought Arvidsson had some great looks tonight, right? But just couldn't find it.
Nets.
Yeah, and for sure, when you see a guy feeling it like that, you want to reward him. But when does it get to the point where, well, you're not putting it in the back of the net? Something's got to change here. We got to score some goals. But I was okay with the distribution of ice time, and I although I'm not a huge fan of loading up the big two, I thought you got to give it to Coach Knobloch. He recognized a good time to do it, and it did work out for him.
Skinner 9:27 of ice time, lowest on the team by far. And then McDavid and Draisaitl, Draisaitl over 20, McDavid at almost 23 minutes.
Do you guys think that line, there's something there, though, with that Henrique, Skinner, and Perry line?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, though, Joaquin.
It's kind of old and slow.
Yeah.
Hey, they had some good looks, though.
I know they had. That's what I mean. Like, they had some good looks. Like the chance Perry got, and the great save by Dostal. That the game's over there, right? And you can. And Dave Cooper and I were talking. Most guys in that situation get the puck where Corey Perry got it. They're burying it right into the crest, right? And you saw him take some time, get to a better position, and was just robbed with a great glove save at that point. But I don't know. I was like, well, they're smart hockey players. They're not the fleetest of foot, but sometimes the hockey IQ can make up for a lot of things. And I found their positional play, where they put themselves in good positions to intercept pucks or just create a little bit more havoc in the offensive zone without the puck, I thought there was something there, but we'll see against a team other than the Ducks if that actually works.
Yeah, it's and Skinner, I think it was one for sure. I think it was two where he had a great look. It was in the slot, and he just misfired or got deflected, or you feel bad for the guy because he's getting close, guys. He's getting close. I didn't mind that line though, guys. I'll be honest. Arvidsson almost scores a highlight reel, one of the goals of the year. He finishes that one, right, boys? Like, that was a hell of a move by the guy. And I thought Arvidsson was all around it as well. I thought he played a really good game.
He's got that spark, tenacity, and he's been getting some points and rewarded for it lately. All right, let's get to the turning point of the game, presented by Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy. At Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy, we treat you like the pros. Our multidisciplinary team includes sports medicine physicians, along with highly skilled physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and massage therapists. Whether you're recovering from an injury or looking to enhance performance, we treat you like a pro using the same locker room approach, trusted by the best in the game. This one is pretty straightforward. It is at 18:25 of the third period. This thing was tied at 2. Draisaitl from Hyman and Nurse. He fires a laser right under the bar past Dostal when the Oilers were pressing for the go-ahead goal after blowing a 2-goal lead. Draisaitl, I didn't think he had a particularly good first period. I think he was a little bit better in the second, and then in the third, when the game was on the line, he brought his best stuff late and ends up being the hero. That is your Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy turning point of the game. Draisaitl's 28th of the season at 18:25. Boys, let's go into the inbox. If you have any questions for any of us or some comments on the night and what you saw from the Oilers, fire it our way. 780-218-9999. Get into the nasty chat. Bad Billy hopping in says, Happy New Year's, guys. A bit of a sloppy second, but that dry McDavid and Hyman line was dominant in the third. Good win. Randy says, Tommy, I assume you have a draft of it wasn't pretty, but a win's a win, quote unquote, don't you? Haha. Looking forward to how we justify being a post away on a breakaway to a bottom of the league team in which the Oilers were up 2-0. You're a better man than most, getting to spin that narrative into a positive. They almost blew it, Randy. Like they really did. And I'll credit Anaheim. I'll also look at what the Oilers didn't do in that second period, and that's put the pedal to the metal, like Joaquin said, a little bit too cute. I have not said it wasn't pretty, but a win's a win, and I'll give credit to the Ducks for sticking in there, and they've had a good week. Guys, what would you say to Randy? Randy likes to be the contrarian. Let's keep that in mind.
Yes.
But he makes some good points.
No, like, listen, it's what ifs, right? Like, what if Vetrano scores, right? Like, but like, what's the point? Like, they won.
Well, he didn't, but
they found a way and they won the game. But again, like, you don't want, like, I think you said Connor Brown, bad play, bad pass to Bouchard. Bouchard can't handle at the blue line. That gives him life. And then the second goal, it's a double screen. It's a hell of a shot by Lacombe there. That kid's a pretty interesting player to watch for sure. But they found a way. And yes, you want him to be better, of course, especially against a team like Anaheim. But like our Gage correctly predicted in the pregame, like, this team's feeling good, man. They beat 3 really good teams, came in here and gave the Oilers all they could handle. So I thought the Oilers would kind of take it more personal and kind of, even at 2-0, guys, right? Like, Tom, you just alluded to it. Like, they should have went after them even more. And Louis said it on the broadcast too, midway through the second. He goes, they're being too cute, man. Like, get to the net. Like, stop trying to walk the puck into the net. And I think that was their downfall that allowed the game to be tied.
You know, I hate to harp on people, but there was, Coach Nalba talked about some passengers, and still you saw some warts in Evan Bouchard's game tonight. And I'm not just talking about the giveaway at the blue line, just trying to do too much with too little. I believe there was like 7 seconds, guys, left in the first period. He has the puck. They're up a goal. They're winning at the end of the first period, and he tries to go cross ice again from the corner with 7 seconds left. And he's got to get this out of his game. I don't know why he's constantly looking for more. And I realize that's the sexy pass. That's if it works out, it looks great. But simplicity, and maybe that's the model for the game tonight. It was simplicity, that if the Oilers played a little bit more, in that simplistic fashion, they wouldn't have had to come down to Connor and Leon getting put together and making an unbelievable play, stopping in front of the net, making those simple plays when playing the clock, puck management. those are the types of things in close games that really good teams will make you pay. And although, like, I thought the Ducks played a really good game tonight, but you don't have a lot of superstars on that side of the puck that can really do some damage when you do make mistakes like that, right? So
Joaquin, really quickly, I just want to jump in with one thing. You mentioned playing the clock and puck management. Do you guys think this year in particular, the Oilers are really sloppy at the end of periods? Like, where you're like, they might get scored on. Like Skinner had to make a save at the end of the first off that Bouchard play. There have been so many times where I'm like, this might be coming back towards, if it gets funneled towards the net, something could go in. And I feel like they are just blissfully unaware at the end of first and second periods.
That's a great point, Tom. It's almost like it's like the details go out the window. It's almost like, hey guys, there's a minute left, we're good. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's just, and it almost seems like they forget all the good things they've done throughout the period and they just let it go. And that's a valid point because they struggle mightily, and it's always close. It's always a goal or it's always close. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's almost like the lack of focus in the last 2 minutes of the first and second periods just goes out the window. It's
juice, man. Like the even going into the third period, Anaheim goes in there. We're down a goal now. You know, like they're feeling good about themselves. There's two words that coaches will say with 5 minutes left, and they'll all say it is make sure. That's what you'll hear on the bench all the time. Make sure. And what does that mean? 2 feet inside, 2 feet outside of blue lines. Puck gets in, puck gets out. If there's nothing there, it has to be like 100% tape to tape if you're doing something like that. Or you're just, especially if you're up a goal or even up 2, you don't want to give the other team life and a little bit more momentum going into their dressing room. They're all pumped up and getting ready for that third period. And you saw it from Anaheim. They got that goal in the second. They felt good about the third. They come out and get the tire. They think history's repeating themselves from the game in Winnipeg.
Right.
And they're a good team. And I was impressed with the Anaheim Ducks. The way that they played coming off that game against the Jets, I thought they'd be dog tired. And maybe that was because I watched the Utah game. They looked gassed, you know. And there were times when the Edmonton took advantage of that second period, long change, and got some sustained pressure. But there was a lot of juice in those legs in Anaheim. That was a good game for them. They were close to, they were really close to taking that to overtime.
Ducks riding the momentum. Yeah.
Can I throw you a fun fact? This is courtesy of Brian Swain. He says 3 hits ties the franchise record low, okay? They've had 7 games in franchise history with 4 or fewer hits. 3 have come in the last 2 weeks. Cause for concern?
Well, they took a hit away because I think I rattled off that they had 4 or 5. But the game stats do change after they get reviewed by the off-ice officials. But 3 hits, boys.
They'll say that they had the puck lots, but that's something to worry about, I think, a little bit. And maybe I'm giving too much away, but when I'm on the broadcast, I can hear Louis and Jack speak in between like whistles or commercial breaks.
Yeah, you're on the program.
But Louis alluded to that last game that I think it was Spicy Tuna had as many hits as the whole Oilers team at the point, right? And Louis this is a cause for concern. There's not enough physical play. Whether that's a team knowing what lies ahead and what gear they have to get to and know that they have to reserve some in the tank is something, but I just don't think that physical play is just a switch that you can flick and all of a sudden, we're a physical team. It's a learned response, I think, in a lot of ways. And the Edmonton Oilers do have the puck a lot, so you're not going to see a lot of hits. But
that's egregiously low, though.
It's too low, Tom. Yeah. Way too low.
Yeah, and that's just simply them not hitting.
Tommy, do you think, I think Reed, we were discussing this in the bullpen this week, like, even, like, do you find, like, kind of McDavid's physicality has gone away? Because he can be really physical. I'm not saying go out there and throw, but, like, he can throw 2-3 body checks a game that are pretty solid. And it's kind of disappeared from him this year. And maybe he's just
when he gets
himself.
mad, he does.
Yeah. Because there's not a lot of physicality on this team, let's be honest.
No. Emberson has shown a little bit, right? Some sneaky hits and putting guys on their keister. But me personally, I would like to see a little bit more physicality with, like, when have we seen someone coming across the middle and someone blowing someone up? Have we seen one this year?
No, we have not. Yeah. We have literally not seen that from the Oilers this year.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of a concern that probably Hernan and I will talk about all next week, 1 to 3 EST afternoons.
As you should. All right. The Oilers win it 3-2 over the Ducks, closer than it needed to be. Kudos to the Ducks. They've been playing well. They had a 3-game winning streak going into this one. They beat Winnipeg, New Jersey, and Edmonton on that 3-game winning streak. The Oilers have extended their winning streak to, they've made it 2 games now. They'll look to make it 3 when they go into Seattle tomorrow. It's the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show. Gazzola, Gage, and Salas with you. Text us 780-218-9999. Get into the nasty chat. Mike in Thunder Bay says that game could have been 7-0 before that Ducks goal. Sad to see McDavid's streak come to an end tonight, but a win is a win. And if you didn't know, McDavid and Draisaitl both had 12-game point streaks. Draisaitl extends his. McDavid has his ended at a 12 games. So Draisaitl now on a 13-game heater. And if both guys picked up a point, say McDavid put an empty netter in, that would have been the first time that a set of Oilers teammates had simultaneous 13-game point streaks, when Wayne Gretzky and Mark Messier had 14-game point streaks, which overlapped from October 31st to November 29th, 1987. So that would have just been another cool stat that McDavid and Draisaitl would match some of the greatest in Oilers history. And obviously those two, McDavid and Draisaitl, now some of the greatest in Oilers history. Stanley in YYC says, way harder than that needed to be. Take the 2 points and run. Should have been 6-0 in that second period alone. 33, 53, 90, 18. Those chances should have been buried. Just on finishing today. Stanley in YYC. And yeah, they missed a lot of really good chances. Also, Connor Brown had that one post. Really quickly, boys, can we look at that goal against the first one? The Brown grenade to Bouchard and then the Leeson breakaway. Gager, I'll go to you. You're our game analyst. Like, is it Brown making a bad play, throwing an absolute brick up to Bouchard? Is it Bouchard not just chucking it back down into the corner? Could we have had a save there from Skinner? I'm sure there's those out there that feel that way. How do you look at it?
To me, Brown gives a bad pass, but I've played with a lot of guys, Tommy, that say it's never a bad pass to a good player. All right. I felt that that's an instance where Evan Bouchard has to realize he's being pressured and he's the last guy. He needs to make a better decision with that puck and maybe just bomb it back down into the corner. Right. Tries to do a little bit too much, goes the other way. And on the goal itself, it's kind of lucky. All right. He tries to shoot this thing. It goes right off the heel of the blade. You could see from the body language of Stuart Skinner is like, that's not where you wanted to put that puck. So a little bit of luck, but just to me, that's more of a poor decision on Evan Bouchard than anything else. That puck should just be pounded back down and just getting rid of any chance of this going back for a breakaway the other way. You live and die with Bouchard with some of the decisions he makes, and sometimes they're great. Like it's amazing what this guy can do. But to me, I felt that there was his decision making in both offensive and defensive zone wasn't where it should be for a player of his caliber.
There was some grumbling up in the press box about Bouchard on that play, but there was some back and forth. Was it Brown? Was it Bouchard? What's up with Bouchard? At some point, I do think he is going to start to lock it down with what did
better
you call
decision
it?
making.
Better decision making. Make sure is the term that you used, Joaquin. And I think at some point it'll click and he'll start to make sure, because he has done it in years past. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, it takes him like 40 something games before he starts doing that. And, there's a reason why he has 200 points in 300 games. He picked up his 200th point tonight. Really quickly, to those there saying he's losing money by the day when he has bad nights, guess what? He's going to be asking for a lot of money regardless of bad nights. And I think he's going to get paid. It just sounds like it's going that way.
My buddy Dave Cooper said, if Edmonton doesn't give it to him, someone else will.
Yeah.
That's basically what happened.
And Oiler fans do not want to hear that.
No.
Probably what's going to happen.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons. We'll get into those as we get into the offseason, obviously. But,
Nenzo, if we just have Bo Akey on like once a week, he should probably be like a Norris caliber by the time he rolls around.
Okay, Tom, I've asked Gage this. I'm going to ask you, just on the whole Bouchard getting paid the big bucks. And listen, if he's more Evan Bouchard playoff form than he is what we're seeing now, of course everybody's going to be okay with it. But can you pay Darnell Nurse what you're paying him right now, which is over $9 million? Bouchard's probably going to come in around that number, Tommy. Can you pay two guys that amount of money and you still need a number one defenseman?
In theory, no. That's not ideal.
That's what I mean. Like, there's decisions to be made here. I don't think it's automatic.
I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree. I think they're going to be forced to sign him, and he's going to ask for 11, and they'll find a way to meet in the middle somewhere around 10. Like, do I agree with that being right? No. But guess what? There's a big jump in the salary cap expected.
Yeah, that's the point.
And pending free agents are looking at that, and so are their agents, and they're ready to pounce. Because every one of them feels like they deserve a certain amount of that, and that money's going to be eaten up quick.
Because Ekholm will be gone in, 2-3 years, boys? Like, he won't be at this level.
He's got one more year after this. So
yeah, exactly. So I'm just... And if Nurse continues to play the way he is, could he be that guy? Sure, maybe, right? But I have a hard time thinking you're going to pay $20 million to do defenseman, and you might still be sitting here, guys, and saying, hey, we need a number one.
It is not appealing whatsoever. But with an increasing salary cap, it might just end up being a reality. Gage, I don't know what you want.
Well, you know who wants this contract more than anyone is Nurse, because if Bouchard signs this thing, no one's talking about Nurse's contract anymore.
Especially if he evolves into the number one B-man.
Oh, boy.
My goodness. All right. Text us 780-218-9999. Let's go to Shaggy in St. Albert. Shaggy says, are you guys getting tired of saying a win is a win when they barely beat inferior teams on a regular basis? Once again, no killer instinct to put the Ducks down after being embarrassed last game. Oilers have no pride. They should have destroyed the Ducks tonight. Blow a 2-goal lead again. Ducks took control of the third. Goalie Skinner kept them in the game. Again, Oilers crammed for final exam to get a C and get the late goal. Can't even score the empty net goal. Surprise fans did not start the wave after the 3-2 goal. This game will make my Friday night very unsatisfying. I don't know. I don't think we're saying a win is a win tonight. I don't think any of us is like overly pleased with how it was accomplished.
Look, I think we can all say that the Ducks were a good hockey team tonight, right? That maybe you didn't have the absolute best from the Edmonton Oilers, but that's in an 82-game schedule. You're not going to get that. This is how many times do people talk about the NHL? Like, it's probably has the most parity of all professional sports right now. Look at other leagues, other sports. It's not even close to this. There's no easy games in the NHL, guys, and like it's great. The days of teams blowing out, and those 7-1 games, those are very rare to where they are now. The players are better, they're faster, they're better conditioned. you're just not going to see that. Once in a while, it's going to happen. Of course, there's just going to be certain nights where teams just don't have it at all. But you're just not going to. That's what makes it so difficult, and why people like watching it so much is because they're good hockey games to the most part. I mean, maybe we won't talk about too much in the middle of February and stuff like that, but the Ducks are a good team. When you look at them on paper, they've got a lot of young, really good talent, and within the next few years, you're probably talking about them possibly, looking at wild card positions in the Pacific. So you can't take any team lightly, or they'll embarrass you. Hence the last game in Anaheim, where again, I thought they played a really good team game. And, goaltending is always the ultimate equalizer. And this Dust Stahl has made everyone in Anaheim, and even myself, I don't even talk about
Gibson.
He
won last night.
Yeah. I mean, Dostal's a good goaltender. It's crazy.
And if it helps anybody with easing the pain of not beating the Ducks more handily, they've beaten the Jets twice this year.
Yeah.
Just I don't know if anybody really wants to hear that, but if it helps at all, they've beaten the Jets twice, and the Jets have been the top team in the league arguably since the start of the year. All right, Gage, are you cool to listen to some clips from the locker room?
Yeah, sure.
All right, we can go inside the locker room. Let's start with Leon Draisaitl, Nat, so if that's cool, and find out what he has to say after scoring the game-winning goal in Edmonton's 3-2 victory over the Anaheim Ducks.
Had the puck a lot, and we're around there and had it a lot. Was it a little, I don't know, disbelief is probably too strong a word, but it's like, man, we're kind of territorially dominating. It's only 2-1.
Yeah, I think we had a lot of good shifts. We had a lot of good looks. Their goalie made some big stops, but I think all in all, it was, especially on my behalf and our line, just too many turnovers. It felt like the momentum we would have it, and then a turnover would happen, and then it would just be kind of back and forth. But that's mainly our line tonight, so mainly me. But is that funny?
Well,
yeah. Good for you. Yeah. But yeah, it happens. Those games, come along every once in a while, and just learn from it.
Having said that, you got a big one at the end. I mean, I know you've criticized yourself tonight, but you're having a huge year with scoring a lot of time, which I know you've done before, but it seems you're cashing in a lot of big moments this year.
Yeah, I take big pride in stepping up when it's needed most, and it's always something that is really important to me, and something that I, like I said, pride myself in. Obviously, some years it seems to go your way, and in certain moments, and other years it doesn't. That's just the way this league works. So, but obviously, I'll take it.
It's good to get one of these out, right? I mean, they all can't be perfect. And how does a win like this kind of maybe help that you can?
For me personally,
for the team. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I think the rest of the lines played pretty solid. I think again it was mostly me that had a lot of turnovers and didn't really drive the puck deep enough to sustain anything. So those games happen. They're going to happen again, and I'm aware of that. But obviously, try to limit those.
Can you maybe speak to an Anaheim team that's all of a sudden pretty tough to play against? It's like that rebuild that you guys beat up on for a long time looks like it's maybe turned a bit of a corner here.
Yeah, they've played us hard both games. In those rebuild years, they're not easy. They're hard. Sometimes something clicks within your group, and you finally find a way to make it harder to play against. And it seems like they're finding ways to do that right now.
Do you remember sort of what elements change in your team when all of a sudden you go, hey, wait, this works?
I think it's the mentality over anything. Seems like they've changed their mentality a little bit in terms of how hard it is to play against and taking care of the little details. Seems like they're heading in the right direction.
2 points for Gazzola. How do you describe the season he's had this year?
He's been consistently really, really good. At times a big moments, probably our best defenseman. So nothing that surprises me, nothing that should surprise you guys. I've seen it lots of times, and it's fun to see him having a big year and just playing to his ability.
Are you guys looking at standings yet in Los Angeles and Vegas and trying to catch them? You know how important home ice is, but
yeah, of course. I mean, we're going to keep pushing. Obviously, it's no secret we want to win the division, but we got some catching up to do to Vegas. So keep continuing to get better and playing our game and building our game, and hopefully we can catch them.
All right, there's Leon Draisaitl following his team's 3-2 victory. Draisaitl, although he scored the game-winning goal, pointing the finger at himself a bit there. What'd you make of that, Gager?
I liked it. I liked what he said. You take accountability. One of the main reasons that the Oilers won tonight was the goal from Leon Draisaitl. Hernan and I, we spoke to DVD today, and I asked him about, like, you look at the stats of Leon Draisaitl right now. Like, he's leading the league in goals. He's got 9 game winners. I believe I heard that he tied Glenn Anderson for points as an Oiler tonight. And the biggest thing I think out of everything, Tommy, is the fact that you have a team with Connor McDavid on it, and you want to hear from Leon Draisaitl because of the type of season that he's having. We're completely spoilt with these two guys. These two individuals are such good hockey players, and Leon is solidifying his place in one of the top NHL players on the planet. And I mean, if you probably took a vote of the hockey writers, the heart probably goes to Leon Draisaitl right now on a team with Connor McDavid. That's saying something, man. That's really saying something. He's been fantastic, and I think the key word today from DVD was when I asked him the question about Leon Draisaitl. His response was maturity. Like, we were, and I'm paraphrasing here, but you saw the brilliance of these guys when they're 22, 23. And now that they're men, they have that old man strength, and the maturity level of them is so much higher than it was before. They're really coming into their own. When DVD said this, it was funny because you think, God, they're such good hockey players, but they haven't even hit their prime. And he must have said about 3 or 4 times, now these guys are in their prime. They're in their prime now. This is why you see the maturity level. And the biggest thing I take from it, and you guys know, I hate when Draisaitl scores and it looks like someone shot his dog. Connor and Leon both look like they're enjoying themselves a lot more. Yeah. Like there's a lot more celebrations when good things happen on the ice. I mean, rarely do you see them both in the penalty box, but I think they were trying to not laugh, and that was funny to me tonight, because I thought, you know what, these are two guys that are having fun playing hockey, and that's when those two guys are having fun. That's dangerous for every other team in the NHL.
Yeah,
best moment was when they were both in the box. Like,
how often does that happen?
I don't know. You got to get that framed or something and have them both sign it. That'd be worth something.
Draisaitl, by the way, like you said, has tied Glenn Anderson for 5th all-time in the Oilers points list, and Connor McDavid has recently moved past Mark Messier into 3rd. He's got sole possession. He now trails Jari Kurri by 7 points to take over 2nd. Wayne Gretzky, of course, number 1 on the Oilers points list at 1,669, and 99 did that in 696 games, by the way. 1,086 of those assists, 583 goals. So McDavid, well on his way, and we'll see when he gets there. But it's kind of neat to see those two climb the ladder. All right, Gager, a quick look ahead to Seattle tomorrow. What do you think?
It's going to be tough. This is, anytime it's back-to-back, getting on the plane, getting in there, it won't be till late. Again, if you're in the dressing room, it's probably the phrase is weather the storm, right? In the first 10 minutes. If they can get out of the first period either up a goal or tied, I think this bodes well for the Edmonton Oilers. They're playing a pretty good brand of hockey, and what we saw tonight, there's still a lot left in the tank here. I would look for any betting people. I would look for possibly an outbreak from Connor McDavid. We haven't seen one of those in a while.
All right, Gager, you were excellent as always. Thank you for filling in for Cass. Enjoy
1 second. Do you want to? I got someone here that wants to say something.
Okay.
Play La Bamba, maybe? No? Okay, she doesn't.
She's shy?
My daughter's been listening. She's too shy.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, she's
All right, guys.
Okay, buddy. See you later.
Take care.
There's Joaquin Gage, our game analyst, helping us break down the Oilers' 3-2 win over the Anaheim Ducks. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. Tom Gazzola, Hernan, Salas with you. And you can watch on YouTube, of course, if you're not listening on iHeartRadio or TuneIn or EdmontonSportsTalk.com's audio player. Reed Wilkins will be joining us in a minute. Let's go to Hampton Steve, who texts in and says, good evening, gentlemen. Looking at the glass half full perspective, a win is a win. Ugly wins count the same as blowout wins. Hopefully everyone adjusts their shooting sights going up against the Kraken tomorrow night. Tube Socks texting in says 2 points are always good. No negativity will be accepted. And then let's go to Ho Daddy, who says, pretty solid game to me. Carried most of the play, but the Ducks capitalized on their chances. And to preempt the Bouche haters, I think Connor Brown would agree that he gave him a crap sandwich or crap burger to deal with on the blue line there. That one from Ho Daddy. And then Ryan from Sask says, my kids never listened to me either, Gager. Oilers carried the play, lots of opportunities, but didn't cash and almost bit them in the ass. Really like the Ducks game. They could have folded their tents, but stuck with it. Good sign for a young team. Anyone else concerned about Stetcher's game right now? All right, let's get Reed Wilkins in here. He's ready to go. And there he is back at his satellite studios. Reed, Rick, you were in the room. You were talking to Draisaitl. You and I were watching the game together. We were saying, boy, the Oilers should be winning by more than what they are right now. What was your overall impression of the game?
Well, yeah, the second period, it looked like watching an Oilers practice at times. I mean, that's how little resistance I felt Anaheim was offering. There was that one almost comedic sequence where Anaheim turned it over trying to clear the puck. The Oilers turned it over trying to make a chance. Anaheim turned it over trying to clear the puck. The Oilers turned it over trying to get a shot. Anaheim turned it over trying to clear the puck, and then I think the Oilers might have got a weak shot or shot it over the glass or something. I am not, first of all, I will say this. I will not praise the Anaheim Ducks to the extent that the rest of you are.
Okay.
I do think they have some skill, and I do praise them for, playing a good game against Edmonton 5 days ago and winning, and for getting it together in the third period enough to tie it. They did not touch the puck for a third of the game. Okay? The second period, they did not have the puck. They offered no resistance to the Edmonton Oilers. A third of the game. Okay? That's still a large part of the game. Now, they did score, so credit to Leeson, taking advantage of an Oilers mistake, which is important, but they did not generate that chance themselves. They did nothing for a third of the game. It should have been 4 or 5-0 Edmonton. The Anaheim Ducks are better than the last couple of years. They're going to finish with 72 to 75 points. Okay? If we were covering an Oilers team of that caliber, we would not be praising them. Just to be clear.
No.
I do agree they have some players who are going to take them on the upswing, including Dostal, who I think is legitimate.
Same.
Okay, but I just want to offer that. Like they were pretty much dummied for the middle period in this game. And Dostal made a couple of good saves, and the Oilers missed a couple open nets, and the Oilers didn't shoot enough. Okay? So I just want to be clear.
I'll counter this, because I do think that the Ducks were comfortable not having the puck. And that's worked for them this week. It worked for them Sunday. It worked for them last night against Winnipeg. I think that there was a certain level of confidence and comfort knowing that Edmonton could have the puck and Dostal's going to make the save, and they can be stingy enough defensively that they only would need 1 or 2 opportunities to score. I feel like they were in that good of a group. You're right, though. They're not a particularly strong team. They were on their back foot most of the game, but I'll give them credit for being comfortable and confident despite not playing the game of an above average team.
Yeah, like they're not a walkover team like San Jose was last year.
Right.
But I mean, it's still they're a below average team. They're not going to be in the playoffs.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Anyway, I thought Draisaitl was very self-critical. I know you played it. I just parked, so I don't know if you commented on him saying, "Is that funny?"
What did you make of that? Because was that Speck that he was going back?
Yes, that was directed at Mark Spector.
Okay.
But it was, I think I kind of chuckled too, just the way Leon delivered it. And I think it was kind of the third time he was kind of like, by the way, I was crap. But he did have, and you and I were talking about during the game, he did throw a few passes to the other team.
Yeah.
But again, with him, it's just a testament to the season he's having, that he can play maybe his worst game of the year, or worst one maybe since the first few weeks when everybody was kind of lousy, and still make a play with a minute whatever left to win the game, get another game-winning goal.
Yep.
It's pretty incredible. I now think I know McKinnon is a few points ahead of him. Kaprizov's obviously missed some time, but I think Draisaitl is the Hart favorite now. I didn't say that about 3 weeks ago because of the Kaprizov factor and the factor with him and McDavid are teammates, so they if they both get votes, maybe not as high as he should. But if you just look at how he's playing and the caliber of goals he's scoring, the important goals that he's scoring, I think he is the Hart Trophy leader right now. But yeah, Nurse had a good game. I thought, I just think they played well. I mean, it's hard to pick apart the game. If they would have lost again, it wouldn't have been the same way they lost to Anaheim on Sunday, where they were clearly negligent and didn't put forth a very good effort. I think this just could have been a funny game that they lost, but it was weird. I said to you during the game too, I felt that the teams were at about 3/4 speed or maybe 2/3 speed. It wasn't even the breaks and the chances and the odd man rushes. It just didn't have a very high tempo to it. And maybe to your point, maybe that's something Anaheim was doing. Maybe I'm not giving them enough credit. Maybe they could do things to control it a little bit, but it was just kind of a funny game in a lot of ways. So, I heard the one, was it Shaggy, that said, don't say a win is a win, but I mean, it is. I mean, it is kind of ugly, but still the good teams win ugly more often than the bad teams win ugly. That's often what separates them.
Text us 780-218-9999. Tom Gazzola, Reed Wilkins, Hernan Salas with you on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show. Edmonton wins 3-2 over Anaheim. No, it was not pretty. We did talk about the line combinations and the frustration of going to the nuclear option. I thought, Reed, that Knoblauch hung in there with his original lines for a lot longer than I expected him to, considering where the game was at. What did you make of the line combinations and the distribution of minutes?
Yeah, it seemed probably the last 10 or 12 minutes, he really went to the nuclear option and played them a lot more. Because I think, again, like I was saying, the Oilers were dominating most of the time, or at least in control most of the time. So I don't think he wanted to send the message to the players, okay, even if you have the puck and forecheck hard, if you don't score in your first 5 shifts, I'm just going to change it. I don't think he wanted to take that away from them. I thought Jeff Skinner had a pretty good game again. I actually thought Skinner and Perry and Henrique were quite good, given how much they play, and obviously they generated a goal. Arvidsson was around the net. He made a good move in the third period. He almost got the game winner a few minutes before Draisaitl did. So probably Knoblauch thought, okay, I'm going to let somebody, maybe I'll let some other line win it.
Right.
Or some other player, even if they're on a line with McDavid and Draisaitl, and that gives them a boost. But I think he didn't talk about this directly necessarily after the game that I remember, but I think there's probably a point where it's okay, I got to win the game. and in the final
Absolutely.
10 minutes, you got a better chance to do that with those guys on the ice at the same time. But, maybe he's thinking, oh, man, what if Jeff Skinner gets the game-winning goal with 5 minutes left? What if Kasperi Kapanen gets a dramatic winner with 3 minutes left or 13 minutes left or whatever? I mean, that's a pretty big boost for that guy.
The Oilers get the win, and it is Draisaitl that picks up the winner. All right, so they snap Anaheim's 3-game winning streak. They've got 2 in a row now. They look ahead to Seattle on this 4-game road trip. Reed, how do you look at tomorrow night's game, and how do you look at this road trip coming up?
Well, I'm not too concerned about this back-to-back. I think, Seattle's a good team. Like, they're still a dangerous team, but I think the Oilers should have a pretty good chance if they are responsible defensively and don't give up a lot, which we say all the time. If they do that, they can usually get more goals than the other team. But I said this on my show today, Tom. I think these next 8 games are going to be difficult because it's 8 different cities. And I know from talking to hockey people over the last several years of my career, and even one year at an Oilers golf tournament, I can't remember how I got talking to Ken Holland, but he brought this up in September where he said there's a couple parts of our schedule I don't like because we're away, home for 1 game, and then away again. Mm-hmm. And I think that Monday night against LA, I think that's going to be a really tough game. Like I'm already going to proclaim the Oilers underdogs in that game. So, I think this Seattle, Boston, Pittsburgh, Chicago, I would hope the Oilers could get 6 out of 8 points in that stretch. And then that's a tough one against LA, and then Minnesota, Colorado, Vancouver. That's tough. So yep. I honestly think a little bit over 500 would probably be good over this next 8-game stretch, and then take advantage of the stretch of consecutive home games at the end of the month.
Hey, really quickly, and if Natso wants to jump in on this too, the Vancouver Canucks fall 3-0 to the Nashville Predators. That's an ouchie. Looking at it, and the Canucks are, fighting. There's a lot of infighting, 3-4-3 in their last 10. What do you make of your observations, or what observations would you make, Reed, of the Vancouver Canucks right now?
Yeah, well, it's got to be tough when that story comes up about players not liking each other, even if it's not true or it's not as bad as it might be, because it's going to get talked about, and it's probably something in the dressing room, even if it's not as much as it might be publicly. And I do think, I said this about both Vancouver and Edmonton before the season, that I didn't think either team was as good as the 2 teams that played in the playoffs last year. I hate to say that, I hate to admit that I did this, but I fell into the rabbit hole of looking at some Canucks fans tweeting each other last week. And there was a lot of, well, why did we think Desharnais was going to be any good? And why did we think this guy was going to be any good? And look at our defense from last year. So, they're frustrated. And then I think now with Demko, what did they say? Back spasms today? Did they give a time frame? I didn't see a time frame, but
I didn't see one. They called up Shelovs though.
But now it's sort of, I almost feel it's at the point with Demko where now, when are they going to have him at 100%? Because I think it's always sort of been with Vancouver. And look, they're still a pretty good team, but I think there's a lot been with them. We'll just wait till they get Demko back. And now it's kind of like, when are you going to have Demko back? And when you have Demko back, how long are you going to have him back? So I think they'll probably still... Well, I don't know. I would still see them as a playoff team. Like, they're still pretty talented, but you wonder if there's going to be some sort of move made there or something done to shore them up a little bit.
Hey, better them than people in Edmonton fighting over what's going on with the team and infighting within the locker room. So let them deal with it. And I think people here will just enjoy the drama and the soap opera that's happening in Vancouver for sure. Yeah.
Yes, no Oilers fans will cry over Canucks misery. And vice versa, quite frankly.
Thank you. Good point. Riedrich, thank you as always, my friend. Always a pleasure, and I will see you on Monday.
Okay. Thanks for having me, Tom. Thanks, Hernan.
There's Reed Wilkins, host of the Reed Wilkins Show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, Monday to Friday, 3 to 6, with Jay Milne. And look at that. There's Hernan Salas from EST Afternoons from 1 to 3. Monday to Friday. Anything on the Canucks, Natso? Do you want to rub some
it's a
salt
mess.
in the wound?
We had Jeff Patterson last week, and man, he broke it down good. And I don't know if you saw it on, I think it was Scotty Upshall's podcast. Brad Richardson was on it, and he was
really?
part of the Canucks. And he said, yeah, there's something there. And he said he admitted, he even said he told JT Miller when he was there, like, back off the kid, man. Like, you know, sometimes it's a little too much. And he goes, and I love JT, he's my boy. He goes, but like, he goes, there's definitely something there. And listen, the Vancouver media, they're all great dudes. And and I know some people were like, they're making this up. It's not made up, Tommy. You can see it. You know, they won, I think, was it last night? Yeah, I think they won last night. Tonight they get shut out at home to the Nashville Predators, who only picked up their 4th road win of the season, Tom. 2 have come in Vancouver. So not good. And the whole Demko thing, it's unfortunate for them because he's, you know, before the injury, he was coming up. He was becoming one of the top elite goalies in the league, Tom. And it's just unfortunate. I mean, Lankinen has been unreal for them. And just to allude to it, it was 3-0, but 2 empty netters.
Yeah, good point.
So it wasn't like they got, you know, run out of the barn or anything like that. So, well, actually, it might have been, no, it's 2 empty netters. Yeah. So Vancouver, you know what I kind of compared to, Tom? Remember in 2017, the Oilers had such a great season, no injuries, career years. They were flying high. Next year, everybody was so high on them. Expectations were through the roof. I find like Vancouver's going through that same thing, not to the same depth because they're still in a playoff spot. They're still right there. But, you know, like they're dealing with injuries. They're dealing with this turmoil. You know, it's just all kind of gone a little bit low now. And everybody had like calling them Stanley Cup contenders. And sure, they earned that right. Sure. But I mean, I think it's shades of the Oilers of 2018 after such a successful season, even though they're a little bit better than that Oilers team, Tom, that we covered. It's crazy what's going on there in Vancouver. And we'll see what happens, man. I mean, I think at the end of the day, you got to move one of these guys, don't you? Easier said than done, but
easier said than done. And they both have big, long tickets. So we'll see. And it sounds like, by all accounts, JT Miller kind of wore out his welcome with the Rangers and Lightning, and he's starting to do it again with the Canucks. I think Pettersson, if you're going to say, like, if it comes down to one guy wins out over the other, I think Pettersson is the guy that they hang on to.
Yeah, I would think so too,
if it comes down to it. All right, let's get to the Damon Bunting player of the game. Damon Bunting has been a consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 17 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. He's community-driven and understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. He is now part of The Agency. That is his new real estate company. And let's go to our main man, Hernan Salas, for the Damon Bunting player of the game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with defenseman for tonight, Tom. I thought Darnell Nurse was very good on the night. He had 1 goal. He had 1 assist. He was a +2, 20-52 time on ice. He had 2 shots, 1 block, and no hits, but they only had 3, so that's not surprising. But I thought Darnell Nurse was one of their better players today, so I'm going to give it to Doc as the Damon Bunting player of the game for this Friday night.
Darnell Nurse with that goal. Nicely done, Hernan. That is the Damon Bunting player of the game. All right, let's wrap it up with a few texts here. Greg, the sound guy, says, take that win, flush it, hope for better tomorrow. Ryan from Saskatchewan says, I disagree with Reed. Decade of Darkness teams would have had 1 foot out the door to the Cactus Club and lost 8-0. Here's a good one. I'm curious what you have to say, Hernan. Coach Mike wants to know, does the blender hit max tomorrow versus Seattle?
Yeah, I wanted to touch on that when you're talking to Reed. I think he starts tomorrow with Draisaitl and McDavid together.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's my my spidey senses. I just think because they're traveling tonight, they're going to get in late, probably no morning skate. I think he's going to try to win the game with the big dogs and Hyman flanking them. And then hopefully you get a goal or 2 from the other lines. But I think he's going to go nuclear tomorrow to start.
Interesting. You know what, Natso? I wouldn't be surprised. Ontario Momes says, somebody tell Shaggy to calm down, get to the playoffs. That's all that matters. Also, Leon's my favorite player to watch on most nights because he's Yager-esque, if not more impressive. Brandon from Windsor says, well, if he needs half a season to wake up, then pay him half of what he wants. That's in regard to Evan Bouchard and him with the slow starts. And then Liquid Beaver says, I agree 100%, Tom. They do get complacent at the end of periods. That was a point I made earlier. Stamp Hater says the Oilers have a pretty easy schedule for the next month or so. I think you're going to see a lot of games like this. They know they are good enough to win and also know the games that matter are still 4 months away. All right, Nanso, any final thoughts from you?
No, stay warm out there. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 o'clock with the pregame show, followed by a late postgame show. The Oilers are in Seattle. Should be a fun one, Tom.
It's going to be great. We do have Hello Hockey tomorrow at 10 a.m. Myself and the birthday boy, Sean Bell. It's his 40th today, so happy birthday to Bellsy, my co-host and good friend and a big part of EST as well. He is going to celebrate tomorrow by having Jeff Truitt on with us, who has coached at the World Juniors, the coach of the Prince Albert Raiders right now. And he'll have a lot to say about what happened in Ottawa. Hopefully, he's very candid, and we'll get some thoughts on the state of minor hockey and junior hockey in Canada as well. And David Pagnotta, who will get us up to speed on news and notes around the National Hockey League. That's Hello Hockey with myself, Sean Bell, and Ben Thompson at 10 a.m. right here on EST, and you can catch it on Sportsnet Radio in Calgary and Vancouver. Nanso, great work today, my friend.
Yeah, always fun.
Always a pleasure. That's going to do it for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show for Hernan Salas and Joaquin Gage and Reed Wilkins. I'm Tom Gazzola saying thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Hit that thumbs up button if you're on YouTube on your way out. You know we appreciate you. Like Hernan said, stay warm. Have a great rest of your Friday night. We'll see you tomorrow. Ciao.